Hey there, I'm Juan Francisco, and I'm a psychic medium. I'm here with you to explore your intuition, the supernatural, and self-empowerment. This is Third Eyesight. Welcome to a new episode, new week of Third Eyesight. It is getting warmer in New York City, and I could not be happier. It was 66 degrees today when I record this episode, and I was out running, getting a tan, and writing outside this book that I'm working on that I've mentioned to you before. And it's just making me feel a little skippier. It's nice. This winter in New York City felt like it lasted a really long time. This cold front, this cold spell. And I'm just finally happy for it to warm up. I'm a boy originally from Miami, so I'm used to really, really hot weather, and I escaped the really hot weather to come to New York to enjoy the culture, enjoy the cooler weather and the change of seasons, and now I'm really over the cold. I'm really over it. So I'm really looking for a place in the next 4 to 5 years to move to where it's always mild, like in the 60s and the 70s. Can't always have it your way, though, can you? Oh, well, I'll keep searching for my perfect place. But I do love New York. I love living here. I just want it to be spring all the time. I wish it could be spring all the time. Not scalding hot summer, just spring. In this week's episode, I wanted to talk about channeling celebrities, channeling famous people, or channeling people who are in news headlines. This has come up a lot as a discussion point in the last year on social media. I've noticed when some celebrities have passed away in the past year, I've seen some discourse online about noticing some psychic mediums who take it upon themselves to channel the spirits of those famous people who have passed. And some people sharing a lot of discomfort and calling it out as exploitative and not ethical. And I wanted to share more of my viewpoint on this and wanted to explore this topic out loud with you, the listener. So first and foremost, I just want to quickly say, I believe we can channel many different kinds of energies. I have been in circumstances where I've not only channeled the energy or the spirit of someone who was once living as a human being, like somebody's loved one, but I've also channeled the energy of spirit guides, angel guides. In one meditative journey with a group, I felt like I was tapping into the energy of an extraterrestrial. I know that sounds bonkers. I usually poke fun on my own, in my head, at people who say they talk to ETs. But I am one to talk because I have felt the energy of extraterrestrials in my studio apartment during a meditative journey with a group. I guess more to come on that in another episode. I don't know if I've ever shared that story. I probably have. So I believe we can channel anybody, anything. I truly believe that. And I believe that we can channel the spirits, the souls of celebrities and famous people once they've passed. I do believe that. In fact, I've had one mediumship reading where I channeled the soul of someone who was very renowned in American culture. And I didn't know it was them, but I kept sharing and describing who this soul was and their personality, the messages they wanted to leave behind. And my client said everything resonated and then told me, oh, this person was actually XYZ. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? And I was really surprised. I didn't get that from this person's soul. I got the feeling like this person was well known, but not to that level, not in pop culture. And I didn't learn that until the very end when the client revealed to me who this person was. So it's possible, definitely possible. That was a one-on-one reading in a private setting on Zoom with a client and with the client's consent and permission because his client personally knew this person and had a close relationship with them. But I find that when somebody starts, especially on social media, on a very public platform, starts saying 2 to 3 days after a celebrity has passed and transitioned, that they are getting messages from XYZ celebrity. One I can think of is when, I can't remember their name, but the one member of the English boy band One Direction who passed away, people started saying like, hey, it's not cool, psychic mediums, to say that you're channeling messages from his soul when it's so recent. It just doesn't seem very ethical. And I agree. I thought it was not a great look on these psychic mediums. And that goes for many other passings in the last year or two. It's just... Again, is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible to channel these energies, to channel the soul of someone so well known like that after they passed. If it can happen with people who are not famous within days of them passing, it can happen with someone who is very famous. At the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all just souls. We're all just spirit. So someone being famous doesn't create an exception for that soul. And I do think that time and place is very important, especially when it's someone really famous, because then you are just capitalizing on someone's passing, and it does not look good. It is not right. It's like if God forbid, if a terrorist attack were to happen somewhere, and then you say you started channeling the energy of someone who died from that terrorist attack, and not for someone in particular, not channeling that soul for someone, a client who was directly connected to this person who passed, just to do it on social media, to say that you're doing it. That's not cool. And it is exploitative. Another thing I have seen is when people say that they can channel Master Jesus. They can channel Jesus Christ. There is an acquaintance of mine, a friend of mine, who has told me that they've seen someone on Instagram, and the way they described them was funny, but they said, Juan, this woman says that she can channel Jesus, and this is what it looks like when she starts channeling him. This is what it sounds like. Oh. She starts making weird noises and can it be real? Absolutely. I believe there are people, I believe we can all channel Jesus Christ in certain ways. But there are a few things happening with this person that was described to me. Number one, why do you have to make these weird freaking noises to channel Jesus Christ? Why can't you just channel Jesus like any other soul? Like any other masterful soul? If people can be divinely inspired in writing a book, why can't you be divinely inspired and just easily channel Jesus without going click, 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 hyperventilating yourself into a channel? Doesn't make any sense. Why does it have to be so performative? And it's that performativity that doesn't sit right with me. Because that is, look, there are some people who do feel like they need to do certain things to start channeling. I was in a group setting once, and someone said that they channel extraterrestrials and they speak the language of the extraterrestrials and then translate it. And no kidding, this person started going, like speaking in tongues. And I'm sitting there like, okay, this is interesting. This feels very performative and doesn't sit right with me. When they translated, according to them, what was being said, the message actually really landed for the person who was receiving the reading. So I thought, okay, you know what? Let me just sit back and just admit that I don't know everything, because this obviously resonated with the person they were speaking in this language to. The message resonated once they translated what they were receiving. So, hey, maybe I shouldn't knock it till I try it, or just not judge. But I do think there is a fine line between a very healthy practice, or practice that is necessary to feel like a clear channel, and being performative. So when this person on Instagram is making all these noises saying that they can channel Jesus Christ, it just makes me wonder if they even have to. Why do you have to include that clicking and the hyperventilating in your Instagram reel? Why can't you just have it, edit it? So it's like, why do people need to see that? That's so personal. So, and is it appropriate to channel Jesus Christ? Is it appropriate to say you can do that? I think, again, there is a fine line here, because now this other fine line, before was the fine line between the practice you do to become a clearer channel in the moment and performativity, and the second fine line I'm going to mention is the fine line between doing something because you are of service to people versus doing it because you want the attention. Of course, if you tell the world that you can channel Jesus Christ, you're going to have a lot of eyes look to you being like, huh? This person can claim they can channel one of the most famous religious figures of all time? Okay, let's see what they can do. So with that attention you're getting, what are you using it for? Are you using it just to get attention? Because if you are, that's exploitative. But if you're using this practice, this claim, because you really have your heart in it and you're being of service, by all means do it. By all means do it. But again, there's that fine line. I think when it comes to people who have recently passed, it's a much clearer fine line, or much clearer line to draw, rather. And, I'm very known amongst my Instagram followers for telling them when I'm on Instagram Live that if someone who has passed very recently, I will most likely not read for you, because you are in the throes of the beginning stages of grief. And there's two things happening. Number one, I don't feel very comfortable reading for somebody whose loved one has just passed, because I feel like I am not the solution for the person's journey of grief right now. I'm not a solution. I am not what they need right now, and I don't want to be exploitative. Maybe I need to get out of my own way. Maybe I do need to be more open to channeling for people who just lost a loved one. Maybe I need to be more open-minded about that. Maybe I have that approach because I have a fear of getting something wrong for someone who just lost a loved one. Maybe that's what it is, and I totally own up to that. But I also do think, even if I were to channel for people who just lost a loved one, I would have to be very, very careful, because they are in the midst of the first stage of grief. And that brings me to number two. In that stage of grief, it's not as easy, as someone who has been through grief before, it's not as easy to understand information that's coming at you from a medium, because you are so looking for specific information that you may not be absorbing or soaking in what a medium is telling you that is true. And this is not about client blaming. This is just about being in the right state of mind to have a psychic mediumship reading. Number one, to make sure you are understanding what's being said to you and affirming it when it needs to be affirmed, or not. Because sometimes psychics will say all the wrong things that don't resonate. And then the person says, yes, that's them, because they are so desperate to hear from their loved one who has just passed. So number one, being in the right state of mind to understand what's being said to you. Number two, being in the right state of mind to make sure that a psychic medium is not going to take advantage of your grief that you're in at the moment. So this is why when it comes to channeling so soon after a celebrity passes, it's just so, it could be so inappropriate, because you are taking advantage of a moment when you didn't even know the celebrity yourself. You're not talking to anybody who knew the celebrity intimately. You're just putting it out there because it's part of a headline. That's the only reason you're doing it. And even if you are getting an intuitive hit from a celebrity after they've passed, it's important to pause and ask yourself, okay, I'm feeling this thing, but is it right for me to put it out there? Not everything we get from spirit has to be said out loud. And if you disagree with me, I understand, because we want to live with our intuition at the center of what we do, right? We want to always follow our gut. We want to keep practicing our intuition. But not everything that comes to mind, everything that we feel, has to be said out loud. We can take that and do with that what we want to do on a more personal level. So let's say, for example, a celebrity has just passed 3 days ago, and you get an intuitive hit that the celebrity says, hey, I was not a happy person, just an example. I was not a happy person, but tell my family that I am in a much happier place now and that I'm no longer feeling that pain. Maybe instead of putting out there on social media that, hey, I got a hit from so-and-so who just passed, famous celebrity, and they said this, maybe take that message and transform it into a good deed for somebody. Volunteering for a prevention hotline, a self-harm prevention hotline, or maybe it's, do you know what I'm talking about? Just transforming what you're getting into a good deed or a good action or a healthy practice, as opposed to saying everything that's coming to you when maybe it may not be very appropriate for you to say the thing out loud. And that's hard. It's hard because as mediums, some of us are taught to say what comes to us. Just say it. But it's not always appropriate. If I'm in a grocery store, here's a good example. I was once in a store, and I've shared this story before on a podcast a long time ago. I was in a store, I think it was an Apple store, and the woman was wearing a necklace, and it reminded me of something. I felt like a motherly energy with the necklace. And I wanted to so bad. I was early in my development and discovering my abilities. I wanted to say so badly something about her mother. And I said, "That's a really lovely necklace. I really like it." She goes, "Oh, thank you. It was my grandmother's." I thought, oh, grandma. Okay, not mother, but maybe it was grandma because the mother I was feeling was older. This woman looked older, like around my mother's age. So maybe I assumed that it would be a mother figure of my own grandmother's age, but it would be instead it seems like, according to her, it is a grandmother figure of my great-grandmother's age. And so anyways, I started rationalizing it. This is TMI maybe. But instead of saying, yeah, I was feeling this motherly energy around you, because I don't know what her beliefs are. I don't know if she's in the right place, the right mindset. She's at work, the right place to receive a reading. I just said, oh, that's so lovely. Well, it's a beautiful necklace. And maybe just me focusing on complimenting her and complimenting the necklace, maybe gave her this, maybe it told her, maybe it was a sign for her that her grandmother is around her. Just me complimenting her and focusing on her necklace without me ever saying that I feel your grandmother around you. I didn't say that at all, but maybe me pointing it out helped her feel her grandmother in that moment. So when we get these intuitive hits, we don't always have to tell people we are channeling spirit unless we feel like it's some kind of urgency, which that we have to leave completely up to the person. You have to ask for permission before you give someone a reading in public. Or you give a reading online that is very public and no one's asking for it. No one's asking you to channel the spirit of XYZ celebrity who just passed. Read the room. Recognize the moment you're in. And maybe instead of just saying whatever's on your mind and your heart from spirit, transform it into something else that is productive. Because maybe it's not the right time to tell people that you're channeling XYZ person who just passed. Maybe instead it's the time to take that energy and transform it into reaching out to that family. And instead of telling them you're channeling their person, that there are so many ways this person meant a lot to you and you wanted to share how much this person meant to you as a fan or as someone who watched everything they did. Whatever it is, maybe there's another good deed you can do. I feel like I'm rambling. I feel like I say that on every podcast episode. I think I'm rambling. This stuff is complicated. It's very complicated and it's really case-by-case basis, but there is, for the most part, I think, these firm lines to draw and some fine lines to cross, not cross. It's possible to do this stuff. It's possible to channel celebrities. It's possible to channel really renowned, famous people in history. But ask yourself why you are about to say the thing. Are you doing it to just get attention for yourself? If that's all you're doing it for, to get some eyes on you, best not to do it. You're not doing it for the right reason. If you're doing it to help humanity, to help people, pause and keep asking yourself questions. Hey, how's it going to help people? Is this going to harm people in any way? Is this going to harm the people who knew this person or the people who worship this figure? Is it going to do them harm in any way? Ask yourself these questions. It's very important. It's important to remember we are not living in a silo. We are not just these channels that must say everything that's coming through. A lot of information can be just for us. And in order for us to share it with the world, we can transform that energy into another action that is productive, that is of service to other people, that has nothing to do with telling anybody that we're channeling that soul. Making it about service. That I think is very important. So the next time you see someone channeling Jesus and hyperventilating to do so, remember what I said here. And don't go for those people and like comment on their stuff. It doesn't make a difference. Just don't do it. Don't do it. I've been that kind of person in the past. It doesn't do anybody. It's not productive. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect, but let's try not to do that. It just gets their content more engagement. So that's this week's episode. I hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of your week, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Hey, are you liking the supernatural and self-empowerment talk? Then follow the podcast and please leave a review. If you want me to talk about a specific subject on the podcast or you have a question for the podcast, go to juanfranciscospirit.com and go to my contact page and submit that question.